You don't need to announce your every move. You don't need validation from people who aren't living your life. You are building something bigger, something stronger, and the best parts of it happen when no one's watching. Today, I'm going to teach you 6 ways to build yourself quietly so when the world sees you next, they won't even recognize you. Get ready because it starts with you deciding to play a different game. You don't need to announce your every move. You don't need to convince people you're working hard. You don't have to make noise every time you take a step forward. In fact, the most powerful growth you ever experience happens in silence. It happens when no one is looking. It happens when nobody is clapping for you yet. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Don't want people to see that there's this pressure in today's world to constantly showcase everything, every little achievement, every goal, every late night of grinding has to be shared. Like it's some performance, and while sharing might feel good for a moment, it gives you a quick hit of validation. It does almost nothing for your real long-term success. In fact, it can take energy away from the very thing you're trying to build. When you start performing your growth instead of living it, you shift your focus from doing the work to being seen. Doing the work, and that is a dangerous trap. Real growth is messy. It's boring, it's repetitive, it's not pretty or glamorous. It's long hours spent when nobody texts you good job. It's working through doubts, through fear, through days when you feel like nothing's happening. And if you're too busy trying to make it look exciting to others, you rob yourself of the true magic that happens when you grind in peace. When you work in silence, you have power. You're not building based on other people's opinions. You're not adjusting your dreams to fit their approval. You're not needing applause to validate your effort. You're doing it for the right reasons because it matters to you, because it's a reflection of who you want to become, not who you want to impress. And when you're in that state, you're dangerous in the best way. You're unstoppable because your engine is fueled internally, not externally. The truth is, people don't really believe what you tell them anyway. They believe what they can see. They believe the results. They believe the change. That's undeniable. And when you build quietly, you allow those results to become so strong, so obvious that no one can deny your transformation. You won't have to convince anyone you're different. They'll see it. They'll feel it. It will be undeniable, and that's the kind of respect that lasts, not the fleeting attention you get from shouting about your goals too early. Think about nature. The strongest trees, the tallest mountains, the deepest rivers, they don't announce themselves. They grow, they expand, they endure, and when people finally see them, they're in awe, not because those things shouted for attention, but because they stood quietly growing into something remarkable. You are different. You are building roots right now, foundations, strength that doesn't bend. With every passing trend, strength that's earned, not given. When you work in silence, you give yourself the space to fail privately too, to mess up without judgment, to try and fall and get up and try again without the pressure of a crowd watching every misstep. Growth needs that freedom. It needs room to be messy. It needs room to stretch beyond what's comfortable, and you can only do that fully when you're not performing for the world, but committing to yourself the next time you feel the urge to tell everyone about your plans. Pause. Ask yourself, am I seeking approval, or am I building something real? Builders, real creators, real winners. They know the work is what matters, not the noise, not the likes, not the comments. The work. Every single day you show up for yourself quietly. You stack bricks that no one can take away from you. You create momentum that doesn't depend on anyone else. You earn confidence. The only way real confidence is built through action, through integrity, through repetition. At the end of the day, your growth is yours, your goals are yours, your future is yours. It doesn't belong to the people watching from the sidelines. It belongs to the version of you who decided to be consistent when it was hard to stay focused, when it was lonely to trust the process, when there was no applause. So stay quiet, stay committed, stay focused. Let them wonder, let them doubt, let them forget about you. It's better that way, because when you finally arrive, when you finally emerge with the results you've worked for, there won't be any need to explain yourself. Your results will say everything you could never put into words. We live in a world obsessed with feeling motivated. People chase that perfect quote, that perfect morning where everything clicks and they finally feel like doing the hard things. But here's the truth. One tells you motivation is a liar. It shows up when it wants to, and it leaves. Second, things get uncomfortable. If you're relying on feeling motivated to build your life, you're already setting yourself up to fail. Discipline is the real superpower. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's waking up when the alarm goes off. Not because you're excited, but because you promised yourself you would. It's sitting down to work. Not because you're in the zone, but because you made a commitment. Discipline is quiet. It doesn't post itself online. It doesn't throw a party. It just gets the job done day after day when no one's clapping, when no one's even watching most. People wait for the right mood. They think if they just get inspired enough, then they'll be able to push through. That's a lie. Your brain tells you to keep you comfortable. You have to flip the switch inside you where it's no longer about how you feel. It's about who you said you were going to become. Discipline is identity-based. It's not about chasing emotions. It's about proving to yourself over and over again that you can trust your own word. And the thing about discipline, it starts with really small promises, tiny ones. If you say you're going to get up at 6, get up at 6. If you say you're going to write one paragraph, write one paragraph. It's not about massive leaps at first. It's about building a track record with yourself where you stop negotiating. You stop making excuses and you just do it every time you follow through on a promise. No matter how small you are, stacking evidence in your mind that you are disciplined, that evidence matters. It rewires your brain. It shifts your identity from someone who hopes to change to someone who expects to change. Discipline also means making peace with boredom. Because real growth isn't exciting. It's not fireworks every day. It's mundane. It's repetitive. It's the same grind, the same practice, the same uncomfortable steps over and over again. Winners are not the people who found a way to stay hyped up. They are the ones who learned how to show up even when it got boring. If you can learn to fall in love with the repetition, with the simple act of showing up, you can build anything. You have to understand that your brain is always trying to take the easy way out. It's built for survival, not success. It's going to tell you that you deserve a break, that you've worked hard enough, that today doesn't matter, but discipline steps in and says, we do it anyway. Discipline isn't cruel. It's the ultimate act of self-respect. It's saying, I am worth the work. I am worth the effort. I am worth showing up for. Another thing no one tells you about discipline is that it's freeing. It's not about living some miserable, rigid life. It's about creating a life where you are in control, not your feelings, not your distractions, not your fear. When you are disciplined, you don't have to waste energy deciding every day whether you're going to do the work. The decision has already been made. You just execute. That's where freedom lives. Freedom is not doing whatever you feel like. Freedom is having the power to do what's necessary, even when you don't. There will be days when it feels harder than others. There will be days you want to quit. That's normal. That's part of it. But if you stay loyal to your discipline instead of your feelings, you will break through barriers that used to stop you dead in your tracks. You will see yourself doing things you once thought were impossible, not because you found some magical motivation, but because you refuse to break your word to yourself. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who seem unstoppable, the ones living lives you dream about. They aren't more talented than you. They aren't luckier. They aren't waiting for motivation. They are disciplined. They have built a muscle inside themselves that says, I do it because it needs to be done. Period. That muscle wasn't gifted to them, was built one decision at a time over months and years of doing the hard things when it was inconvenient, when it was uncomfortable, when it would have been easier to quit. So stop waiting for motivation to save you. It won't. Start practicing discipline. Start keeping promises to yourself. Start proving every day that you are the kind of person who shows up when you make discipline your standard, not your mood. Everything in your life changes. You become powerful in a way that no outside circumstance can touch you. Become unstoppable, not because it's easy, but because you trained yourself to rise no matter what. You don't have to flip your entire life upside down overnight to create real change. In fact, the people who succeed at the highest levels almost never do it through some grand overnight reinvention. They do it by mastering the small, seemingly ordinary habits that the rest of the world is too impatient to stick with. We're making while standing, and still big success is nothing but the result of tiny choices made consistently day after day. It's easy to underestimate them because they feel so small. Reading 10 pages of a book doesn't feel like it will change your life. Doing 10 push-ups doesn't seem like it's going to transform your body. Setting aside 10 minutes a day to think, plan, or visualize doesn't feel world-shattering in the moment. But that's the trap, because those tiny actions, when repeated, create massive momentum. Most people are chasing the big flashy moments. They want the breakthrough, the big opportunity, the magic solution. But what they don't realize is that the breakthrough is earned by stacking up countless small wins when no one is watching. It's the person who commits to the little things every single day who eventually wakes up and realizes they've built something massive. There's a reason why people say consistency beats intensity. You don't need to sprint for a few days, burn out, and then crash back to where you started. That's not real progress. That's chasing a feeling. Real progress looks boring. Most of the time, it's doing the same small actions over and over, trusting that even when the results are invisible today, you're planting seeds that are guaranteed to grow. The truth is, discipline with small habits is a form of self-respect. When you decide you're going to do something, no matter how tiny it seems, and you follow through, you send a message to yourself. I can trust me, and that trust Compounds every small promise kept is a brick laid in the foundation of your future self. Miss enough of those bricks, and your future self has nothing to stand on. If you want to change your life, don't start by trying to move mountains. Start by moving a single stone every day. Start by waking up 15 minutes earlier. Start by drinking one extra glass of water. Start by setting one simple goal for the day and hitting it. These small victories create momentum. And momentum is powerful. Momentum transforms your identity before you know it. You're no longer someone who's trying to be disciplined. You are consistent. You are building, and here's the magic. Most people miss when you master small habits. It doesn't stay small. You evolve your capacity. Increases what once felt like a stretch becomes automatic. The 10 minutes you once fought to focus becomes an hour without effort. The 10 push-ups turn into 100. The daily journal entries turn into full-blown strategies and deep self-awareness. Growth is exponential, but only after it's been invisible. For a while, you have to be willing to look at yourself and ask, what's one tiny thing I can get better at today? Not next week, not when you feel ready today. Because today is the only building block you ever really have. Stack enough good. Today's and your future becomes unstoppable. Small habits also teach you patience. They teach you to fall in love with the process, not just the outcome. If you can find pride in the fact that you showed up for yourself even when no one else noticed, even when there was no applause, you're already winning at a level most people never reach. The world is obsessed with highlight reels. You're becoming obsessed with the real work. There will be days when it feels like nothing's happening. That's part of the process. You'll be tempted to quit. You'll wonder if it's even worth it. And those are the days that matter most. That's when you have to double down. That's when you have to remind yourself no one becomes great by accident. No one builds something meaningful without battling the invisible days. The truth is small. Habits don't just change what you do, they change who you are every time you act in alignment with your higher goals. Even in the smallest way, you reinforce the kind of person you're becoming. And at the end of the day, success isn't just about what you achieve, it's about who you become along the way. You're not chasing a moment, you're building a new normal, a normal where growth is the default, a normal where excuses have no place. A normal where every small action, every small choice is another step toward the life. You're meant to live. Start small, stay consistent, trust the compound effect. The world might not see it yet, but one day they won't be able to miss it. Focus is not just a skill anymore, it's a survival tool. If you want to build yourself into someone extraordinary, you have to become fiercely, relentlessly focused. You have to make focus your superpower in a world that's begging you to be distracted every second of the day. It's easy to get caught up, easy to scroll, easy to react, easy to chase every shiny new nit that flashes across your screen. But easy will never get you where you want to go. Easy will never build the life you're dreaming about right now. There are a million things pulling at your attention. Notifications, social media, gossip, emails, other people's emergencies. Every single one of those things has the same goal: to steal your energy, to drain your focus, to keep you busy, but never truly building. And if you don't learn how to defend your focus like it's the most valuable thing you own, you will never tap into the full strength that's inside of you. The truth is, nobody is going to clear the path for you. No one's going to knock on your door and say, hey, I cleared all the distractions. Here's a quiet lane for you to become great. It's on you. You have to build that lane. You have to create that mental space where growth happens. You have to be willing to say no, a lot no, to the endless scrolling, no, mindless conversations, no to every little thing that wants a piece of you, but doesn't deserve it. There's a hard truth you need to swallow. If you're serious about building yourself quietly, most of what's fighting for your attention is irrelevant to your future. It's noise, and the longer you stay entangled in noise, the longer you stay stuck. Growth is quiet. Mastery is boring. Building something worthwhile doesn't feel exciting. Every second of the day, it feels like showing up. It feels like repeating the basics when everyone else has moved on to the next trend. It feels like doing the work, silence, while everyone else is performing online. When you get relentlessly focused, you start to notice things. You notice how tired you feel after scrolling for an hour. You notice how shallow conversations lead. You drained you. Notice how good it feels to spend 2 hours locked into something you care about. That's not an accident. Your mind and your body are giving you signals every day about where your energy belongs. You just have to get quiet enough to listen. You're to stop flooding your brain with endless junk long enough to hear the difference between noise and necessity. Some days focus will feel natural, most days it won't. Some days you'll feel locked in, unstoppable. Other days your brain will beg you to do anything but the work. It'll beg for distraction. It'll beg for comfort. That's when you're in the the middle of transformation. That's the friction you want. That's your mind rewiring itself for discipline, for strength, for power. Don't run from that feeling. Stay with it. Push through it and don't fool. Your self-multitasking is a lie. Every time you try to juggle 5 things at once, you're not being more productive. You're training yourself to be mediocre at everything. Excellence demands all of you. It demands that you be present, fully invested, fully locked in single task. Your way to success, focus at a time, one step at a time, one project at a time. You're not going to outwork your distraction. You have to eliminate them. You have to design an environment where winning is easier. Turn off the notifications, clean up the clutter, create routines that automate your energy toward what matters. Understand this focus is freedom. When you are focused, you are not easily manipulated. You are not easily distracted. You are not easily pulled into drama that has nothing to do with your dreams. Focus clears out the junk and lets you see your life for what it really is, a series of choices that control. Every minute you focus is a brick laid in the foundation of your future. Every minute you waste is a brick you let crumble away. And here's the powerful thing: you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to live like a monk and never touch your phone again. But you do need to live with intention. You need to catch yourself drifting and pull yourself back without judgment. You need to recognize when you've let the world steer your ship, and then grab the wheel and steer it back. Focus isn't about being rigid. It's about being calm. It's about choosing what matters most. Again and again, even when it's hard, if you want to build yourself quietly, you have to learn how to disappear from the noise and reappear in your own life. You have to get clear about what you want. You have to make time for it, fight for it, and protect it like your future depends on it. Because it does. Nobody's going to hand you the life you dream of. You build it by staying focused when it's boring, when it's lonely, when it feels like nothing is happening. You stay focused because you know something powerful is happening inside you. Even when you can't see it yet, your life is built in the moments no one sees, in the hours you could waste, but don't in the decisions you make when nobody's cheering you on. Stay relentlessly focused. Protect your vision. Guard your energy. Your future self will thank you for every single time you chose focus over distraction. Stay the course. The best is yet to come. Most people spend too much time talking about what they're going to do and not nearly enough time actually doing it. They get caught in the performance trap, announcing plans, showing off progress, chasing likes, seeking validation. But here's the hard truth: talking doesn't build anything. Talking doesn't get you results. Talking doesn't move you an inch closer to the life you want. Learning, applying, and mastering. Do when you commit to learning more and talking less, you shift your energy inward, where it actually matters. You stop performing for the crowd and start performing for your future. You stop worrying about what people think of your journey and start focusing on how strong, how smart, how prepared you're becoming. Because real success doesn't happen on a stage. It happens in quiet moments. When no one's watching the early mornings, when you study the late nights, when you practice the weekends, when you choose growth over comfort. You have to fall in love with private victories, the small wins. No one will ever clap for the breakthroughs. No one will post about those are the moments that define you. Every book you finish, every skill you polish, every lesson you learn and apply, they stack up brick by brick. You're building a foundation that no one can knock over, but if you're too busy telling the world you're building, you'll never lay enough bricks to make it strong. You need to protect your dreams from premature exposure. Not everyone deserves to know what you're working on. Not everyone is rooting for you. Some people will secretly hope you fail. Some will doubt you so loudly. It plants seeds of uncertainty in your mind. And here's the thing: if your dream is in its early stages, it's vulnerable, it's fragile, it needs protection, not exposure. Learning in silence, building in silence, growing in silence gives your dream the armor it needs to survive and thrive. There's another side to this too. When you're constantly talking, you create pressure, you set expectations you might not be ready to meet, you make promises your future self has to keep. And sometimes that pressure isn't healthy. It weighs you down instead of lifting you up. It forces you to chase validation instead. Excellence, learning more and talking less, keeps the focus where it belongs. On getting better, not getting noticed. But the most dangerous thing you can do is get high on potential. Talking makes you feel like you're moving forward, but real movement happens when you shut your mouth and open your mind. When you become a student again, when you stay humble enough to know there's more to learn. When you realize that mastery isn't loud, it's silent. Patient, relentless. Ask yourself, when was the last time you spent an entire month just learning, just absorbing, just applying without announcing? That's how you create a gap between you and everyone else. That's how you separate yourself from the noise while everyone else is showing off. You're showing up while they're performing. You're practicing while they're busy seeking attention. You're busy earning respect. You don't need to impress people today. You need to be impressive when it counts. And that only happens when you choose depth over display, knowledge over noise, growth over glamour. Silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Every hour you spend studying, every rep you do behind closed doors, every time you choose to learn instead of show off, you are weaponizing yourself for the future. You are building tools that no one can take away, skills that can't be faked, wisdom that can't be bought. When you finally step onto the stage, you won't have to announce yourself. Your presence will speak louder than anything you could have said. Your work will be undeniable. Your results will be unshakable. Learn more, talk less. Build yourself so strong that when the world finally sees you, they'll realize you were never trying to impress them. You were too busy becoming unstoppable. The greatest advantage you can ever give yourself isn't raw talent. It isn't connections. It's the ability to delay gratification, to resist the cheap, easy rewards. Now and instead invest in the bigger payoff that's waiting for you down the line. Because here's the truth. Anybody can get hooked on feeling good right now. Anyone can choose comfort, distraction, validation, but champions, the ones who are truly unstoppable, they play a different game. They train themselves to fall in love with waiting. They teach themselves to enjoy the process more than the applause. And they don't just tolerate delay, they master it. Think about it, every single major success story you admire is rooted in someone who chose the harder path. When no one was watching, athletes who spent years practicing drills alone, while others went out partying, entrepreneurs built product after product, with no guarantee anyone would ever buy, artists who created piece after piece that the world ignored until one day they didn't. It wasn't just about talent. It was about resisting the temptation to quit when it was easy to give up. It was about understanding that delayed gratification isn't punishment, it's preparation. And this isn't just theory, it's biology. Your brain craves instant rewards, likes views, praise, it feels good, and your system lights up. But if you train yourself to override that urge to crave the long-term win more than the short-term high, you start to rewire your entire life. You move differently, you make decisions differently, you stop living for today's comfort and start building for tomorrow's greatness. Look around. Most people aren't struggling because they don't have goals. They're struggling because the goals require sacrifice, and their addiction to instant results is stronger than their commitment to the long haul. It's not that they don't know what they want, it's that they want it without paying the real price. They want success, without boredom, growth, without loneliness, mastery, without discipline. But the truth is, all the rewards you're dreaming about, the wealth, the health, the freedom, the respect, they are on the other side of resisting the easy path. When you learn to delay gratification, you separate yourself from the crowd instantly, because while they are chasing the next dopamine hit, you're chasing mastery. While they need the world to clap for them at every step, you're clapping for yourself in private. You are building something real while they are building highlight reels. And the best part, when it's time to show up, when it's time to reveal what you've been working on, you don't just show up, you dominate, because you're not fueled by random bursts of motivation. You're fueled by a deep, unshakable commitment to your future, training yourself to delay gratification. Doesn't happen once, it happens every day. It happens when you choose to stay in the gym after everyone else leaves. It happens when you keep working on your craft, when no one's offering you a paycheck or praise. It happens when you resist checking your phone for the 100th time because you're locked into something more important. Every one of those tiny decisions matters. They compound. They stack up silently, invisibly, until one day the results are so massive, no one can deny them. And it's not supposed to feel easy. It's supposed to stretch you when you're delaying gratification. You are actively breaking the habits that have kept you small. You are teaching your mind that you are the one in control, not your impulses, not your emotions, not your fears. You are running the show, and every time you choose the hard thing, now for the better thing later, you are building muscle, mental muscle, emotional muscle, character, and that is the real currency in life, because talent fades, looks fade, trends fade, but character stays, character compounds. So the next time you're tempted to rush it, to quit early, to take the shortcut, remember what you're trading. You're trading your future for a fleeting feeling. You're trading the dream for a moment of comfort, and you are worth so much more than that. Your future deserves more than your excuses. Your dream deserves more than your impatience. Delay the gratification, love the grind, learn to sit with the uncomfortable. Teach yourself to enjoy the building phase, even when it feels endless. Because if you can do that, if you can truly fall in love with the wait, there's not a goal you can't hit. There's not a life you can't create. The world will try to rush you. Social media will try to distract you. Your own mind will try to convince you that if it's not happening fast, it's not happening at all. Ignore it, stay locked in, stay patient, stay dangerous. Greatness doesn't happen overnight. It happens quietly, painfully, beautifully over time. Delay the gratification. That's how you win the game. Actually matters. Delaying gratification is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. But it's also one of the hardest. We live in a world where everything is available at the push of a button. Instant access to entertainment, food, shopping, and information. The temptation to take the easy path, seek immediate pleasure is stronger than ever. But here's the thing, in the long run, the people who win, the people who build extraordinary lives are the ones who can delay that immediate satisfaction in favor of something greater. Down the line, let's be honest for a second, when you delay gratification, choosing the hard path, you're choosing to wait, to sacrifice, and to build. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. In fact, the greatest rewards often come to those who are willing to put in the work today, knowing that the payoff is something much bigger tomorrow. You see, most people want fast success, the instant hit, the quick win, and there's nothing wrong with ambition or wanting results, but the truth is real success, real fulfillment, and real growth come when you're willing to put in the time day after day and sacrifice the comfort of now for the greatness of later. It's about recognizing that what you want in the future is more important than what you want right now. The small, seemingly insignificant choices that you make every single day, whether you wake up early to work on your goals, whether you resist that temptation to scroll on social media, or whether you choose to stay disciplined with your diet or exercise regimen. Those are the moments that compound over time to build a life you can be proud of. Here's the thing, we're in such a rush to get to the end result, but there's an incredible transformation that happens during the process. If you're constantly chasing instant rewards, you're missing the beauty of the journey, the discomfort, the struggle, the challenges. Those are the things that forge resilience. It's in the days when you feel like giving up but you push through anyway, that you develop the strength and the grit that will carry you forward in life. Success is not an event, it's a process. It's the consistency of small choices, one after another, done day in and day out. And here's where many people fail. They want the result now without understanding that the result is just the surface behind every successful person. Behind every breakthrough, there's a long, quiet period of preparation, the sacrifices that no one sees. It's the hours spent working while others are resting, the meals eaten with discipline, while others are indulged the moments of loneliness, while others are out having fun. And it's not just about working hard. It's about working smart. You don't have to grind endlessly without a plan. You need to develop the self-awareness to know that the right actions today will pay off in a big way later. Consider this. Every time you delay that gratification, you're building something inside of yourself. You're training your mind, your body, and your spirit to endure and to resist the urge for immediate rewards. It's like building muscle at first. It's hard at first. It feels uncomfortable, but as you stay consistent, as you keep pushing forward, you start to see the results, and those results, they're worth the struggle. They're worth the discomfort, because every sacrifice, every choice to delay immediate pleasure is a brick in the foundation of something incredible. Let's take a look at how this works in real life. Imagine you're working on a long-term project, whether it's a personal goal like getting healthier, a professional goal like building a career, or a financial goal like saving money for the future. Every day you make a choice. You can either take the easy route, skip a workout, spend money on unnecessary things, procrastinate on that important unturk, or you can delay that instant gratification and put in the work now. The challenge is that most people can't see the future payoff. Because of that, they give in to short-term desires. But here's what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. The successful understand that the choices they make today are directly connected to the future. Their building delayed gratification isn't about denying yourself pleasure. It's about choosing the right pleasures at the right time. It's about understanding that true satisfaction comes not from instant rewards, but from knowing you earned something. There's a level of self-respect that comes with doing the hard things. It's that feeling of pride you get when you accomplish something that you know took effort and time. There's a certain fulfillment in working towards something that requires discipline and patience. Something that builds over time and is sustainable. Quick fixes, on the other hand, offer temporary satisfaction and then leave you feeling empty because they don't contribute to the deeper fulfillment that comes from long-term growth. When you delay gratification, you also start to train your mind to embrace discomfort. And here's what's amazing. The more you embrace discomfort in small ways, the more resilient you become in bigger situations. It's in the little things, the times when you could have taken the easy route, but chose to stay disciplined, that you build mental toughness. You're developing the ability to push through the tough days when everything feels overwhelming. You're building emotional strength to face challenges and setbacks with grace, knowing that they are just part of the process. At the end of the day, delaying gratification is about making decisions that align with your long-term vision rather than your immediate desires. It's about choosing the life you truly want over the comfort of what's easy in the moment. And that's where the power lies, in the quiet, consistent decisions you make every single day to delay the easy pleasure in favor of something far greater. It's not about punishing yourself. It's about investing in your future. The more you embrace this practice, the more you realize the sacrifices aren't sacrifices at all. They're stepping stones to your best life. The truth is, we are often more obsessed with how we are perceived by others than we are with the person we are actually becoming. We chase approval, applause, and validation, believing that external recognition will confirm our worth. But here's the hard truth: your value doesn't come from what others think of you. Your worth is determined by the person you're building yourself into day by day, in the quiet moments when no one is watching. It's easy to get caught up in wanting to project an image, wanting to be admired, wanting to have our achievements celebrated. In the age of social media, we're constantly reminded of how others appear to have it all together. Their curated lives, their successes on display, their perfect moments splashed across screens. It's easy to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves, of thinking we're not doing enough, or worse, that we're not enough. But here's the secret: the key to lasting success and personal fulfillment isn't about how others see you right now. It's about the direction you're heading, the process you're committed to, and the relentless pursuit of becoming the best version of yourself. You see, your identity is shaped by your daily actions, not by the image you project. The things you do, consistent, even when no one else is watching, are the true reflection of who you are. That's how you build yourself. Have to stop thinking of your identity as something that is handed to you by external recognition. It's not about the awards or the titles you've earned. It's about who you are in the process of becoming, the actions you take. Even the small, seemingly insignificant ones are the building blocks of who you're becoming, moment by moment. Every time you choose to show up yourself, every time you do the work when it's hard, every time you push through the doubts and fears, you are sculpting the person you are destined to become. So many people waste time trying to convince others of who they are instead of proving it through their actions. And here's the kicker: you don't need to convince anyone. Your actions will speak louder than any words. The world doesn't need to see you shouting about what you're doing. They'll know by the results, by the way you move, by the way you show up, by the way you handle challenges. People who truly understand success aren't the ones constantly talking about their greatness. They're the ones who are relentlessly focused on growth, on progress, on learning and evolving. This doesn't mean you should ignore feedback or shut yourself off from the world. Of course, you'll need input from others, and yes, you'll need moments of reflection. But at the core of it, your identity must be grounded in the work you're doing, not in how people are perceiving you. You don't need external applause to feel good about your journey when your actions align with your values. When your steps are consistent with your goals, that is when you can feel the true sense of accomplishment. It's important to recognize that who you are becoming is often invisible in the beginning. It's not glamorous, it's not flashy, it's not something you can post on Instagram or boast about in a conversation. But it is powerful. The quiet, consistent work you put in is the foundation of your identity. When you choose to act with integrity, when you make small choices that build discipline, when you create habits that align with your highest values, that is the person you are becoming. Someone who's concerned about impressing others, but someone who's focused on creating something extraordinary with their life. This is why it's crucial to protect your time, your energy, and your focus. The more you guard these elements, the more you can devote them to building the identity you desire. Every time you say no to distractions, you're saying yes to your future. Every time you choose to sit down and do the work rather than scrolling through social media or seeking external validation, you're reinforcing your commitment to the person you want to be. But here's the thing: the process will feel slow. You might feel like you're not making enough progress, or that no one notices. You might even doubt that what you're doing matters. And that's okay. Growth isn't always fast, and transformation isn't always visible. But if you stay committed, if you keep showing up, if you keep building your habits, improving each day, eventually the results will be undeniable. And at that point, you'll realize that the work you've put in, the quiet, consistent, and sometimes lonely work, was worth it. So stop worrying about what others think of you today. Start focusing on what you're doing to build your future. The only person who needs to believe in your journey is you. Stop waiting for others to validate you, and start proving to yourself that you can create the life you want. Your identity is not something that's defined by the external world. It's something you define through your choices, your actions, and your relentless pursuit of self-improvement in the end. Who you are becoming is what matters most, and that person built through daily habits, through quiet action, through determination will be the one who lives a life that is truly remarkable. So get busy building and let the world be amazed when they see who you've become.